All right, so today we're diving into a document that, honestly, raises a pretty uncomfortable question.
I mean, really think about that for a second. When the system breaks down, who's actually accountable? Welcome to a new deep dive from Strategic Labs. And hey, just a reminder, all the original links for our source material are down in the description for you. So what we're doing here is exploring this, well, it's a critical and often totally invisible shift that's happening in corporate travel. It's really a story about tension, right? The promise of saving money versus a company's fundamental duty to take care of its people. So let's get into it and unpack this thing.
Okay, so to really get a handle on the new risks that are popping up, we kind of have to go back and understand the old model. For years, corporate travel was built on this really stable ecosystem that gave companies one key thing: predictability.
And right at the heart of this predictable world was something called the GDS, the Global Distribution System. The easiest way to think about it is like the technological backbone. It was this standardized environment where everything, and I mean everything, from traveler profiles to payment methods to company rules, was all seamlessly integrated.
So the old school booking process, it was actually super straightforward. Step 1, corporate policy would set the rules. Then the travel management company, the TMC, they'd manage the booking within those rules. The GDS would then pull all that data together into one single, structured record. And the result of all that? This is the crucial part: complete visibility. The company knew where its people were and could step in to help if needed. Look, it wasn't perfect, but man, it was organized.
But as you can probably guess, that stable ecosystem, well, it started to come under some serious pressure. And it was all driven by this really powerful, almost seductive promise of saving money through new booking channels.
And this is the commercial message that pretty much changed everything. Outside the GDS, the ticket can be cheaper. I mean, this is the core pitch. New distribution tech, like something called NDC, promised direct access to airline deals, often at a lower price. And for any company laser-focused on the bottom line, that message was almost impossible to ignore.
But here's the catch, the big paradox. This relentless focus on just the ticket price, it created a total illusion. Companies thought they were cutting costs, right? But here's the reality. This shift didn't eliminate risk. No way. All it did was transfer it. It moved it from a managed, visible system and kind of dumped it on the traveler and into the operational chaos of the moment. And that transfer of risk? Well, it has some really severe consequences, because when you break apart that integrated system, you introduce something called fragmentation. And this fragmentation, it comes with a steep and often totally hidden price tag.
Yeah, the fallout is pretty specific and pretty bad. When bookings start happening outside the system, you immediately lose visibility. Poof. You just can't track your people anymore. Data security that's shaky because everything suddenly becomes manual. All that important corporate data like cost centers and employee IDs, they're no longer automatically attached to the booking. What you're really seeing is the entire chain of care, the very system designed to protect travelers, it just starts to fall apart.
And this just creates this cascade of operational failures. What used to be a secure, automated flow of information turns into a manual, error-prone nightmare. Every single one of these outside bookings means someone has to sit there and re-enter sensitive personal and financial data, and every single manual entry is a brand new opportunity for a mistake, a data leak, or a major compliance breach.
So this really brings us to the question that just cuts through all the noise. I mean, forget the data for a second. Let's just think about the human element. You've got a medical emergency, a natural disaster, a security incident. How does a company actually fulfill its duty of care to an employee it can't even find? This is the exact moment where that illusion of saving a few bucks just completely collapses into a real-world, potentially tragic failure.
And this brings us to a really crucial point. The problem here isn't necessarily the new technology itself. I mean, NFTs and other channels, they offer real opportunities. The core issue, the real danger, is adopting these tools without any kind of framework to manage them. The source we're looking at calls this a governance gap.
And this question just gets right to the heart of the matter. Who governs the risk when the rules conflict? Think about it. What happens when your finance department is pushing hard for savings by booking outside the system, but your security team requires total visibility to keep employees safe? Who decides? Who governs that conflict? Because when the rules are at odds with each other, responsibility becomes dangerously fuzzy.
And the answer here is, well, it's totally unequivocal. This is not the travel agency's problem to solve, and it's definitely not the traveler's burden to figure out while they're trying to book a flight. The responsibility for governing this risk belongs squarely to the organization itself.
It is a strategic decision that has to be made before a crisis hits, not in the middle of one.
So what's the path forward? It's not about rejecting innovation or trying to go back to the old days. It's about what we can call conscious control. It's about adopting these new tools for sure, but doing it intelligently and responsibly with a crystal clear governance framework in place from day one.
Look, an organization really has two paths it can take here. On one side, you've got adoption without governance, and that road leads to diffuse risk, operational chaos, and really just the appearance of savings. But on the other side, you have conscious integration. Now, this path creates clear accountability, managed control, a fulfilled duty of care, and true sustainable efficiency. This isn't just an operational choice, it's the strategic choice facing every single company today.
And that is really the most crucial point to take away from all this. Innovation in travel is here, it's not going away, and it does offer real benefits. But the responsibility lies with leadership to build a system that can absorb that innovation safely. The problem isn't the tool, it's its adoption without governance. The tool is neutral, its ungoverned adoption is where all the danger lies.
We have reached the end of this extensive analysis. If it added value, share and subscribe to Strategic Labs. See you next time.